Okay. So yesterday what we have discussed, we have discussed how to provide the registration, login and the logout functionality. We have also discussed right how to provide a custom password policy, as well as we have also discussed how to return to redirect over URL, right? And finally, we have completed with the remote and the client validations. Today we are also going to continue our ASP.NET Core identity basic concepts, and we will start right by customizing the ASP.NET users table. Now, if you look at this, right, what I can say, identity DB, right? If you look at this identity DB, then you will see there is a ASP.NET course table where we are storing, right? Where we are storing the data. It is taking time. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm showing this screenshot, right? So you can see this is the right, what I can say database table columns which are created as part of our identity ASP.NET users table. Now what you can see here? Here, here you can see, guys, give me 1 minute. Right. Okay. So here you can see many informations are there like the username, email, mobile number. But if you want to add specific custom information, some custom information like the first name, like the last name, like the gender, like the email, like the date of birth, right? Any custom information if you want to need as per your business requirement, as per your application requirement, then what you need to do? Then in that case, what I need to do is I want to extend this ASP.NET users table. I mean, extending this ASP.NET users table means what? Means the entity for which this ASP.NET users table is being created. We need to extend that entity and we need to add the custom properties to that extended entity. And then when I do the migration, automatically the new columns are going to be added to this ASP.NET users table. And guys, remember, as we have already discussed, this ASP.NET users table is created based on this identity user, right? What I can say model. Here you can say ID, username, normalized email. See, whatever the properties are defined inside this identity user model. Based on this identity user model, the ASP.NET users table is being created. So what I need to do is, I want to create a custom class by extending, right, by inheriting from this identity user class, and inside that custom class, I need to provide the custom properties. And then when I need to, and again, I need to generate the migration. Once I generate the migration and apply the migration, then our database is going to be synced with our custom changes. Clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
It is not working. Okay, let me stop this database. Because without the database, we can't do anything. Test this query transaction count. Why this is happening? Clear, my system has not shut down from the last 1 month or so, right? That might be the reason. It is not behaving properly. Need a restart. Okay. Services are not. So if this is the case, right? You just need to restart your services. This one, restart. which your services are not working properly. So just to restart the services, it should work. Have you guys facing the same issue on your system?
No, really, sir. No, sir.
No. Fine, fine. But if you are right working constantly with SQL Server, right, and if you are not right, if you are creating databases regularly, deleting the databases regularly, right, and if you are installing multiple versions, you might face this problem, or even whenever you are right, what I can say, right, working right so many days without restarting your system. Some of the services they needs to be restarted. That's fine. Again, it is taking too much time. Ideally, it should not take that much of time. And it's fine. This time it works. Now let us proceed and see how we can extend the class. See, guys, remember whenever you are extending the identity user class, that custom class, what is going to be inherited from the identity user class, you can give any name. But as per the recommendation, the class name should be given as the application user, right? So this application user is the custom class which is going to be inherited from the identity user class. So let us create a class file with the name application user, right? So right click on the models folder, add a class file. So this is going to my application user, and to this application user, right? What I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste this code. Now you can see my class is inherited, right? My class is inherited from the identity user class, and this is the class which I need to use now, right? So what you need to do next? So once you create the custom class inheriting from the identity user class, then you need to replace all your right wherever you use identity user in your application. That identity user need to be replaced with the application user. So first of all, you go to the program class. So in the program class, did you use identity user? Yes. So what you need to do now, you need to replace that with the application user. So this is one of the place. Then go to the account controller. In the account controller, did you use identity user? Okay, yes, I'm using identity user. So let me replace with the application user. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Line
But
number
then,
36.
sorry,
Line number 36, sir.
line number 36. Yes. So that what you need to check, right? Wherever you use the identity user, right, you need to replace them with the right application user, right? Next, you just go ahead and look for some views, login model. So this is not required. Registered model. This is also not required. And right, then go to the layout view. Yes. Here also I'm using identity user, so I need to reuse this one. So by specifying this thing, right, this much of thing is not enough. So now what we have done? We have done the changes, right? Wherever we are using the identity user I have replaced, right? We have replaced them with the, right, what I can say, application user. That's fine. But how we will tell this thing through the identity framework, right? Even if you look at this application DB context class, here my class is inherited from the identity DB context class. Then I also need to tell the same thing to the DB context class, right? See, by default, what exactly it is using? By default, it is using, right, the identity user class. Now we have changed that identity user to application user. So in that case, what I need to do, I need to make use of this generic identity DB context class, and I need to pass the application user as a parameter. So in this way, we are also telling to the DB context class, hey, DB context class. Currently, I'm not going with the default identity user. I have replaced that default identity user with the application user. That is what we also need to clear, guys.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
With these changes, right now, what I need to do is I need to generate the migration. So we have update the program class. We have update the IDTB context class. Right. We have updated the account controller as well as we have updated the layout views. Right. So these are the different places where we have used identity user and we have replaced them. Right. So once this change is done, next what I need to do, I need to generate the migration. So already we have created one migration with the name image1. So next what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another migration file with the name image2. So give the name r migration image2. So second time I'm doing the migration. Guys, see, here I'm giving image1, image2, right? But it should be as per your changes. Suppose you are doing the extending this identity user, you can this extend identity user migration. That name should be meaningful, right? Instead of giving this image1 and image2. I'm providing because, right, I don't want to write that much of right description. Okay. So with these changes now, if you verify the identity database, right, let me refresh the database, go to the table, and here you can see ASP.NET users table. You can see the first name and last name properties are added or not.
Yes. Yes.
Right? Later I will show
Yes,
you
sir.
how you can also, later I will also show you how you can also rename this table name, even though they are not required. Renaming is not required. If you want, you can also rename them. Right? So now we have added these two things. Next, what we need to do. So once we have added this thing, right, then again what I need to do, again I need to take this information, right, and I need to create them, right? I need to store them, right? So when we need to take this information, when we are logging or when we are registering the user. Guys, tell me. So whatever properties we have created in the identity DB, when these two columns value are going to be populated, when we are logging the user, when we are registering the user.
Registering.
Right?
Registering.
Registering. For registering, we are using this registered view where we are currently taking the email password and a confirm password. So to this view, we also need to take the first name. Inside this view, we also need to provide fields for first name and last name. And if I want to provide fields for first name and last name, then these two fields I need to add inside which view model.
Register view model.
Okay. So go to the registered view model, and here let me put this two fields. So what I'm saying, the first name is required, last name is optional, right? And what should be the display name? First name, and here it is going to display as a last name. So these are the two fields I have added. So once I add these two fields, right, next what I can do is I can create two, right, text boxes. One is for first name, and the validation is there for first name. Next one is for last name. Last name is optional, so I don't need any, right, what I can say validation for. Clear or not?
Yeah. Clear, sir.
Yes.
Clear or- Up to now, this is clear what changes we have done,
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
Then once I have updated this information, then again I need to provide this information right in the right create async method or not? Yes or no? So when I submit this
Yes, sir.
registered button, it will submit the data to which controller and which action method.
Register
Account.
action.
Register action method or method of the
Ac-
account control, or is
Account
it
Account.
execute
control.
Yeah.
post attribute, right? So go to the register, go to the account controller, right? Go to the registered post. So registered post means this one, right? So in now, right, we are taking the view model data, but currently we are populating with which field? Only username and email. So now what I need to do also here, I also need to take the first name, right, which is going to be comes from the model first name and the last name. Clear or not?
Clear, sir.
Right, so now we are passing this user to the create async method. Later, rest of the things are going to be the same, right? So with these changes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new user, and let's see this time whether it is going to allow me to store this first name and last name column values or not. So click on this HTTPS, click on this registered first name. I'm providing the first name as a pronoun. Last name I'm giving that route. Email. I'm providing the email as Pranay Kumar 777 at the rate gmail.com. So guys, remember, I'm providing valid email address because later on I also need to provide the functionality for email confirmation. So for that purpose, whatever email address you are providing or I'm providing, it should be valid and it should be owned by me. Otherwise, right, I cannot access that thing. So password, I'm providing here capital TEST at the rate 1234. Confirm password, I'm providing same capital TEST at the rate 1234 and click on the registered button. So once you can see the user is logged in and that logout button is coming also here. Now, if you go to the database and the ASP.NET users table, this time you should see the newly created user, right? That is Pranay Kumar 777. And here you can see that the first name and last name column values are going to be there. Clear or not?
Clear, sir.
So how to customize the database, ASP.NET users database, is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Come.
Right? So whatever changes I have done, we have provided everything, right? This is how you can update the database table. I mean, you can add any. So you can add birth date, first date, last name, address, right? Gender, any column as per your requirement, you can add them. Clear?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir, can I ask a question, please, sir?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you are given a project whereby they say you should not use identity, will you, how are you going to implement these services? Is it going to be easy for you to implement these services in your own, as in implementing it in your own, aside using identity to
So
get
actually,
all these features, all these services?
sorry, I'm not getting your question.
I'm trying to say that if they give you a project to do, if they say you should not use identity, they say you should not use identity.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you implement it? Can you
See,
implement it in your own aside using identity?
let me tell you this thing. If
Yes,
identity
sir.
is not there, if identity is not there,
Okay,
can I
sir.
create a table ASP.NET users in the database? Can I store this data in that table by doing all the validations manually?
Yes, sir.
You just
Yes, I can. You
can we
can.
or not? You can. Then
You,
you got your
yes,
answer.
sir. Okay.
Uh, Yeah. So this is possible, right? Whatever we have discussed so far, whatever data we are storing in the database, whatever CRUD operation we are storing, and forget about this identity. For example, you want to manage the order, you want to manage the product order item, right? Customer information, everything you are storing in the database. So for that purpose, are you taking help from someone else or you are writing everything?
Okay. Okay.
Everything. So in this case, why we are using identity means the database, the structure, the logic, they have already implemented. We just need to use them. That doesn't mean
Okay.
I cannot create my own database where I cannot store my data, where I cannot define the logic. Yes, everything is possible. You are the developer, whether you are going to use the identity inbuilt services or you are going to create your own database with own services. It is up to you only. Clear?
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So this is right what I can say ASP.NET how you can extend the ASP.NET core table, right? ASP.NET users table. Now we need to start discussing right the roles management, right? Because we need to go step by step again, right? At the end, we are our complete example is going to be developed, right? So don't think that our user management functionality is completed. We just provide the function for creating the user. We have not yet provided a function for updating the user, deleting the user, right? Adding roles to the user, right? All these things are possible as we progress. We are going to discuss, but step by step, right? So now what we are going to discuss is roles management. Roles management means we are going to discuss how to create a new role, how to update the role, how to delete the role, how to retrieve the role, how to check whether a particular role is existing in the database or not, right? And whenever we are going to work with roles management, the roles are going to be stored inside this ASP.NET roles table. Right here you can see, taking time. Yes. Yeah. So you can see ASP.NET roles table. Here it is having ID column, primary key, name. You can see primary envarker 450. So by looking at this value, you can consider the identity column is going to be UID, right? Name and this name, whatever we are going to provide, it should be a unique name, right? So unique name. You can see on the role name, it what kind of index they have applied. Unique index, yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
non-cluster.
sir.
This unique non-clustered and filtered index, they have applied on the name column, right? So filter index means what? Right? Can anybody tell me what do you mean by filtered index? Because yesterday night only I have discussed this concept, right? Can anybody tell me what do you mean by filtered right index? Filtered index means it is going to apply the where condition with not null constant. So basically, if I am using this name, so it will create where, right? Name is not no. So this where condition it is going to apply means what? If a column value is null, and that will not become right come as part of the query. I mean, whenever we are whenever the index table is going to be created, that index table will not store right any right null value because see, unique means what? Unique means it can accept a single null value. Primary key doesn't accept null value, but non-primary key they can accept null value. But in this case, a unique means a single null value it will store. So in that case, right, that single null value is going to be stored in the database table, but that is not going to be stored in the right. What I can say in the index table, and that value is not going to be returned, right? Whenever we are filtering the data based on the name, right? Because at that time it will apply this filtered condition right to that index column. So that is nothing but your filtered condition. So while creating the filter, right, while creating the index, that index is also going to be created with some kind of a condition. And what condition in this case? The condition is name is not found. So that is nothing but your filtered index, right? So now what I want to do is, now what I want to make you ensure is this name what we are going to provide, it must be a unique name. No duplication is allowed. Why? Because for on this name column, it has been applied with a unique index. Clear?
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
basically, the role name what we are going to provide this should be unique. And this ASP.NET user table, ASP.NET roles table is created based on the right following identity role entity class. So here you can say ID name, normalized name, concurrency stuff. So these are the values. And based on this value, the database table is going to be created, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we can perform the fraud operations on the roles table, right? And for this purpose, right, and this is, guys, remember the admin. So this roles management means it is the job of admin. Admin people, they can decide which user is going to have which role, right? So for that purpose, what I'm going to do is I can create a controller called administrator controller, and inside this administrator controller, so assigning user to role, assigning a role to user, right, creating, modifying, updating roles, right? All these things are going to be happening, right? So account controller means account related functionality. Account related functionality means create the user, login, log out, right? Forgot password, change password, right? So these are related to account. And admin controller means managing the user, right? What managing the user means which user should have what role, how to add the role, how to update role, how to modify the role, right? All these things we are going to manage, right, within the admin controller. So let me go ahead and create a controller first. So this is going to be my controller. Again, this is going to be MVC empty controller, as we are going to start from the very beginning, right? Everything I want to show you practically. So, and this controller right now, what exactly it is going to do? It is going to deal with, right, what I can say, role management, right? So as it is going to deal with role management, so what I can do is I can add the respective service. So here you can see I'm creating role manager, specifying identity role, and this role manager I'm initializing here. Currently, right, we are not using. This is just, right, how, what I can say, how to inject the identity role, or I can say, or rather than identity role, you can say to inject the role manager, and this role manager we can use, right, within our action method to manage the role functionality. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So next, what I need to do, right, guys, remember, right? So here, if you want to add a new user, right? For example, if you look at my account to controller, for creating a new user, what method I'm using?
Create a sync.
Create async method. Similarly, right? But this create async method, what I'm using, belongs to
User
which
manager.
manager?
User
It is
manager. User manager.
similarly, the role manager also provide one create async method, which is going to create a new user. So based on the create async method is going to be the one, right, on which services you are calling that method, basically decide what object it is or what entity it is going to create on the database. If I'm calling this create async method on the user manager service, it is going to create a user. If I'm calling that create async method on the role manager service, then it is going to create a new role in the database. That is what you need to remember. So there is also a create async method on the role manager service, and this create async method going to take the T role. So this T role is nothing but you can consider it is the identity role class or a class that extend the T role class. Getting my point? So this method is provided by the right role manager service. This method takes one instance of T role. This T role is nothing but you can consider your identity role class or a class that is inherited from the identity role class. And this is one async method. So the return type is going to be task of identity. When awaited, it is going to return identity result. In this identity result, right, it gives us information whether the operation is successful or not. If successful, that's fine. If not successful, why not successful? With error information, it is going to give to us, right? So let us proceed and see how we can do this. Now, guys, tell me. So by looking at this ASP.NET roles table, this is going to my identity column, as well as you can see this is my, right, this is the primary key column whose value is going to be auto generated. So you just tell me, if I want to create a role, what are the information I need to pass? What are the information is required?
The role name will be there.
Only name is required. Rest of the things
Role.
to be managed by the framework, right? So what I need to do, so I need to create a view model for creating a role. and that view model is going to contain only one field. What is that? Role name. And because I don't require any other field here, ID that is going to be managed by system. Normalized name means whatever the name I'm providing that the uppercase version. And this is the concurrent system that is also auto-generated for managing the right concurrency within my application, right? So basically, I only need the name field. So for creating a new role, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a view model, and that view model at this point of time, later also, I'm going to discuss how to customize the identity role. So whenever I'm customizing, I can provide additional column. But for now, it is going to be created with a single property. So let me first create a model for creating a role. So what I'm going to do within this right models folder, I'm going to add a new class file with the name right create role view model. And this create role view model is basically going to contain only one property. It is going to contain only one property, that is role name. And this is the property what I required to create a new. Please unmute. New wala. Okay. So now, right, is that clear why I'm creating a single, why I'm creating this view model with only one property?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Now what I need to do is I need to create a new role. So what are the things I need to do? So for creating a role, what are the things you need to check? Right? The model should be valid. Without valid data, right? If there is no data in the role name property, do you need to proceed further?
No, sir.
Then what is the second thing? So whatever the role name is provided, do you need to check whether it is already exist in the database?
Yes, sir.
And why? Because we are sure name cannot be duplicated. So check the existence of the role. This is what you need to do now. Now, if the role already exists, then what you need to tell? If it exists, then what you need to do? Give some information, duplicate role. Yes or no? If not exist, then what you need to do? If not exist, then what you need to do? You need to create the role, right?
Yes, sir.
And for the role, what method I need to use? I need to use the create async method. Clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And to check whether the role exists or not, right? What I need to do is I need to use another method. That method name is right role existing. So role exist async method. So here I need to provide the role name, and it is going to check whether this role name is already exist in the database or not. If it exists, it will return true. If not exist, it will return false. If it exists, we do not need to proceed. You just need to return that duplicate role, or you can say this role already exists in the database. And if it not exist, you can proceed and create the role. For creating the role, what you need this right create async method. Clear or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Right. And this is what we have provided. This is the post version of the create role method. Right? Right? Because this is what we are going to process. And in the get version, what I need to do, I need to create a view, and that view is going to render a field, and that field will ask for the role name. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Role. And when you provide the role name and click on the submit button, it will submit the data to the post version of the create role method. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So let us proceed and implement this thing, right? So let us proceed and implement this thing, right? So what I'm doing here, right, in the administrator controller, I'm having this method. So this is going to my create role async, right, create role method. And this method is going to render a view where the user will enter the role name. So let me first create the view. So this is going to be my art, right, create role view. Okay, click on this OK button. And this is a very simple view, guys. Remember. So what I'm going to do, it is a very simple view. Okay. So here you can see the action method is create role. Okay. Also let me provide the controller name so that right there should not be any confusion. The controller name is going to be. Let's tell me what should be the controller name.
Administration.
Administrator.
Yes,
Administration.
it's fine. So here I'm taking only one field for the role name, and here my submit button is going to be there. Right. So when I click on this button, submit button, create role, it will submit this role name, right, whatever value the user is provided to this administrator controller create role action method, which is going to be decorated with the post attribute. This view is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now what I need to do, I need to create the post version of the method, right? So let me go ahead and create the HTTP post method. And whatever discussion or process we have discussed, that what we need to implement, right? And it's very simple and straightforward, right? So what I'm doing here, first of all, I'm checking the role name, right? If the role name, right, model state is valid means there is some data. So we are passing that role name to this role exist method, and this method is going to return me true or false. So if it returns true means what? Role already exists, this error message I want to show, and I need to stay in the same view, right? So that the user can have a chance to rectify this error. If the role doesn't exist means this is a new role which is provided by the user, which not exist in the database, then what I need to do, I need to create an instance of an identity role class. Why? Because I want to populate this table, and this table is created based on the identity role. So I need to create an instance of identity role class, and here I need to specify the name property, right? And then this identity role class, I need to pass to this create async method of the role manager class. And here, as it is a async method, I can use the await keyword so that I can get the result. And once I get the identity result, I need to check whether the operation was successful completed or not. If successful, I'm redirecting to this what I can say index page of the home controller. See, guys, remember currently we are redirecting to the index page. Later, I'll show you how you can redirect to the list of roles page. That is possible, and we are also going to discuss this thing, right? And then what I'm doing, and if this is not successful, right, then what I need to do, whatever all errors are there, I can access them one by one using this identity error object, and then that description I'm adding to the model state. Again, right, and again, as in this case, we are not redirecting to any page. We will stay in the same page by displaying the error messages. Clear?
Yes,
Clear
sir.
or not? Is that
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Now, what I want to do is I want to provide another link in the right. What I can say for creating this one. So what I'm doing, right. So this is for temporary purpose, right? Later I'll show you how to manage the role, right, with right validation everything. So currently, what I'm doing, I'm specifying the controller as administrator and the action method as a create role. And this is in this case, right? So this is the action method as a create role. And here the menu is going to be create role. Okay. So with these changes, now let me run the application and show you this thing, right? Whether it is creating a role or not. So user is logged in. Let me click on this create role. And here you can see role name I need to provide. Suppose I'm providing here admin and click on this create role. So now again, right, if you go ahead and check the database, then it should have that role admin, right? So whenever I'm going to update this column, this concurrent staff value is going to be already created. So next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another role. This time I'm giving the role name as super admin. I'm going to create another role, sales. I'm going to create another role, user. Right? So you can see I have created a different kind of a role super admin, sales admin, user, right? So these are the different roles I have created for my application. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Right now. So that's fine. So we have already discussed how to create and how this is done, right? So now what I want to do is, right, I want to create a page where I'm going to discuss, right? So suppose now what is my requirement? My requirement is that I want to create a page where I'm going to show the list of roles, right? So what should be the value? See, it is going to display whatever the role ID, whatever the role name, one edit button. On clicking on this edit button, it will open the edit page, and this is the delete button. So when I click on this delete button, it will give me one message that again in the same line it is going to display one message. Are you sure you want to delete this role? Because deletion means you should to be very clear, right? You should give a confirmation message, and then right, it will come with the two options, yes or no. If you click on the yes button, this role is going to be deleted. If you click on the no button, then it is not going to delete the role, right? So basically we need to display something like this. So how to implement edit and delete functionality, that is step 2. First step, we need to provide this add a new role option, and the list of roles to be displayed something like this. See, this is the user interface. Whatever way you want to display, it is up to you, right? So let me proceed and right, generate the right list of roles page something like this, right? So for this purpose, what I'm going to do, I need to fetch all the roles, and to fetch all the roles, guys, remember, right, if you look at this account controller, right? So user manager, right? So user manager dot users property is there. So this users property is going to give me the list of users, right? Whatever users are created in the database, that list this users property is going to be given me. Right here, you can see this is the iCoreable. So then what I need to do, I need to call this a toList method. So this toList method, right, it is going to give me the list of a user. So what exactly this? So this is nothing but your DB set property. You know how to work with the entity framework core. In an entity framework core in the DB context class, we are defining the DB set properties, and whenever and to access the corresponding data, we are going to use of a DB set property, that is whatever we define. So similarly, this user's property, right? Right. Similarly, if I want to access, right, if I want to access all the roles, then what I need to do, I also need to use something like this. So what is that things? So in this case, right, what I need to do, I need to use this role manager. And what should be the property name? The property name is roles, the to list. It is going to give me list of all roles, whatever available inside this ASP.NET roles table. So this is nothing but your DB set property. Using this property, right, you can access all the roles. So here it is not displaying that, but internally they have managed the things like this, right? So now what I need to do is I want to create a page where I need to display the list of a user. So for that purpose, what I'm doing here, I'm creating, not this one. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating this list of roles action method. And here, right, what I'm doing, as I'm using the asynchronous method, I'm using the toList async method and storing the list of roles here. And this list of roles I'm passing to the view. Clear? So this roles means it is going to return me all the roles available in my ASP.NET roles table and converting that into a list, and that list I'm passing to my view. Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So once I create this role, then what I need to do, I need to create a view, and inside that view, I need to display the list of roles. So how to create a view? The best option is, right, first stop the application, add a view, reserve view, click on the add button, and then click on this add button. So this will create the list of roles view. So once the view is created, right, then we need to display the data. So now you just tell me. So for this view, what should be the model? For this list roles view, what should be the model? What,
Identity.
what data we are passing to the view?
Roles.
So what roles? Any roles means what? What is the Actual time. What is the actual data? Roles is just a name of the variable. What data we are
Identity
passing
role.
to you? So we are passing a list
List
of
of
identity role.
identity role. Yes, sir.
So list of identity role we are passing to the view. That means what should be the model inside this view? The model is going to be list of identity role. So whatever data I'm passing to the view, that data we need to store. So see, in this view, if I want to store this roles data, whatever I'm passing, for storing this data, I need a variable of this type or not,
Yes.
right? So that is going to be my model. So inside this view, my model is going to be identity role. So IEnumerable you can use a list, that is not issue, right? For example, I can also make use of a list. And this identity role, it is available in Microsoft.asp.NET Core.identity namespace. First of all, we need to bring that namespace and then, right, I can specify what is the model. And now this is my all roles option, right? Whatever all roles are available on my application, that's what I need to display. So here, what I'm saying, if at least right any role is available, okay. Let me keep this outside. Let me keep this outside. Okay. So not required, right? So not required. So let me put this inside, right? So because right. So what I'm doing here, I'm doing two things. First, I'm checking if at least one role is available. Then I'm going to list that role in the page. If at least one role is not provided, then what I need to do, I need to provide this message that no roles yet created. Use the button below to create a new role. So now you just tell me to create a new role, what method I need to invoke? I need to invoke this create role method or not? For creating a new
Yes.
role, this method is required. This method is available inside which controller? Administrator controller. That is what I'm saying here. So to create a new role, please use the administrator controller and also access this create role action method. So this is going to create the role. If no role has been yet created, so this section is going to be executed. If model dot any method means if at least one record is there in the model, then this any method is going to return me true. And in the case of true, this if block is going to be executed. And from top of this right list of roles, I'm going to provide a link for creating a new role. And also, I'm looping through all the models properties and I'm showing what is the data. So first of all, this is my header where I'm displaying the role ID and this is non-editable. So this is just a simple display purpose. And the title, you can say this is the name what I'm providing. And also I'm giving two things, right? So this is header, this is body, and this is footer. In the footer, I'm providing two buttons. One is edit and another one is delete. But for now, you can see these two buttons, I have not provided any link. All right, when clicking on this link, it will not do anything. It will stay in the same page by adding this heart symbol to the URL. But as we progress, once you create the action methods, once you create the action methods for edit functionality, once you create the action method to handle the delete functionality, at that time we are going to provide the appropriate URL. But now we are just keeping this with the empty or you can say heart symbol. So it is not going to do anything special. It will stay in the same page. So this is my list of roles page. Clear?
Yes.
Right. Right, what I need to do, I need to go to the list of layout view. So now I don't want to provide any create role. So here I want to provide a list role. And for list roles, right, for roles functionality, right? So in this case, which method is going to give me the list of roles? So this is the method, right? So this is the method that what I need to provide now. Now run the application and see whether it is working as expected or not. So this is my list of roles. Is it displaying as expected?
Yes.
Whatever the role ID, whatever the role name, and this edit and delete pair of button. Now this edit and delete functionality will not work because we have not yet provided. But if you click on this add new, then it is going to add, right? Suppose I want to add a role name text. So it is going to add and then right it is going to display this thing. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So now what changes I'm going to do? So after adding the role, I don't want to redirect it to the, right, what I can say, index page. Rather than I want to redirect it to the list of roles page of the administrator controller. So what I can do is I can modify this. So once I add a role, it will redirect it to the list of roles page, right? So that changes I have done here. And it makes sense, right? So now run the application. Go to list of roles page. You can see these are the list of roles. And I'm going to add another role equals to text 2. So in this case, it is going to redirect me to the list of roles page. And here it can show you the text 2 word. So here guys,
Yes, sir.
now, now what I need to do is I want to implement the edit functionality. So I want to implement the edit functionality means what? Now means whenever I click on this right edit button, right, it should open a page, and inside that page, it should allow me to right, edit the role name, and then it should have one button to submit that role information to the database so that the updation is also going to happen in the database. But in that page, whenever I click on this edit button, that the text box should autofill. Autofill means whatever the existing name, that the text box should come with the existing name, right? That edit functionality we need to provide. Let us see how we can do this, right? So for this purpose, right, now you just tell me, if I want to edit the role name, so what are the information I need to pass to the database? If I'm passing only name, is it going to update? Or along with name, I need to pass the ID value for update
ID,
functionality.
ID, ID should be
ID,
inclusive. Mm.
it's ID and name. So for edit
Mm.
functionality, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a view model. Name is going to be edit role view model. And this view model is going to hold two properties. One is the ID, another one is the role name, right? So let me go ahead and create the view model. So this is my edit role view model. And this view model, guys, remember this is completely real-time application development. So we are going to create many view model, many action method, many views, all are integrating together. And don't be right rating that right. Yeah, it is a very big application. Definitely, it is going to be big application because right we are going to implement every functionality. And here, why I'm preparing this string as right that primary key column, right? Or you can say ID column string, because the data what it expect, right? The data what the ID column expect, it is of so string type. If it is ID, if the primary key column is an integer, I need to create it as an integer data type. But in this case, it is a string. So my property is also going to be string. So this is what we have created. Then what I need to do? Then what I need to do means I need to create one, right? For edit functionality, what are the things I need to do? First of all, right, that method should accept what as an input parameter. Method should accept the role ID as a input parameter. Then what is the second step? So second step means I need to fetch the data from the database based on this role ID. If this role ID is present, we need to proceed. Otherwise, what I need to do, we need to display that this is a invalid role, or we can redirect to the error page where it is going to display the error information, right? So that is what we need to do. So let me first create the get version of the action method, which is going to render, right? Which is going to render the page, right? So what I need to do, I need to create this method. So this is my edit role action method. So based on the role ID, it is going to write what I can say, paste the data. And here you can see find by ID method, async method. So using this role manager find by ID async method, it will take the role ID. Based on the role ID, it is going to check whether this role is available in the database or not. If it is available, that's fine. If it is not available, then we are redirecting to the error page, right? So currently, if you look at this, this is my error page. It will redirect to this error page, right? If the uh, provided role is not available. If the role is available, then what I need to do, we have created this edit role view model. So what I need to do, I need to populate these two fields, ID and role name with the data what I'm getting from the database. So in this case, this is the role model. So I'm creating the instance, I'm initializing the ID and role name, and I'm storing this ID and role name right from this role what I received from the database, and then I'm passing this model to the view. So later on, right, if you later on what I'm going to show you, I can extend this identity role class with some custom properties like a description. So whatever custom properties, those also we need to initialize here, but not now. So next what I need to do, I need to create the view. And for that view, what will be the view model? Right, tell me for the edit role view, what should be the view model?
Edit role view.
Definitely the view model is going to be edit role view model. So let me add a view, right? So the view is going to be my edit role view model. And in this case, you can see, right, it is having one hidden field. So this hidden field is basically meant for, right, sending the IT column value. And also I'm displaying that IT, right, in a disable format. Disable means it is going to be stored in the form where it will not be editable. It is only for the displaying purpose. But important that ID I'm storing in the hidden field. And if you remember, so whenever I'm submitting the form, only not only this text box and whatever input element data will be submitted, but also the hidden field values are also going to be submitted to the database, right? So here I'm storing that in the ID, and also I'm displaying this in the right what I can say in the UI, but this is going to be in disabled format, means the user cannot edit this text box. And this is the role name, which is going to be auto-populated with the incoming role name, but it is also going to be input to text element, so which can be editable. And the list of summary error I'm displaying here, you can also display in the top, no issue. Wherever you want, you can display. And this is, and in this page, right, what I'm providing two one. One is the update button. Update button means what? Whenever you click on this update button, so this ID and this role name, it will submit it to this edit role post action method of a administrator controller. And also it has one cancel button. Once you cancel button, it is not going to do anything special. It is simply redirect back to the right list roles action method of administrator controller. Clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. So my right edit role view model. So this is going to post the data to the post version of the right this edit role action method. Now what we need to do once it post the data, we will get this edit role view model. Then what we need to do? We need to update the data. For updating the data, what I need to do is I need to use this update async method. So to this update async method, I need to pass a T role. T role is nothing but your identity role or a custom class that is inherited from the identity role. And then it is going to return the same identity result object similar to your create async. So this update async method is also going to work in a similar manner. But here, what T role we are passing, that should contain the ID column value. Otherwise, it will not work. So let me proceed and show you this thing. So now this is my administrator controller. So you can see this is my administrator controller. First of all, what I'm doing here, so this is my model object. So I'm validating the model. Before proceeding further, I need to ensure, so whatever the model data I'm passing, that ID value is exist or not in the database. So how you can check whether this ID is exist or not? By using the find by ID method on the role manager class. So this find by ID method is going to check whether the role ID is available in the database. If it is available, that's fine. If it is not available, then it is going to return this error message that role with ID is not found, and it is going to redirect to the not found method. So there is any page is there which is not found? No. So what I can do is I can create a view right inside this shared folder. The view is going to be, you can give not found, and inside this view, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to display this message. So simply I'm not doing anything special. Whatever the error message, that what I'm going to display in that view. If the role is exist, then what I need to do? If the role is exist, then what I need to do? So I need to update the name only, na? So how I can update? So role.name is nothing but your model.role name. Clear?
Yes.
Role now. So whatever role or data I'm fetching from the database, I'm updating the name property with the incoming name property of this model, right? And once this is done, then what I need to do, I need to pass this role object to this update async method. And the rest of the things we have discussed. Once it is successfully updated, we need to redirect to the list of roles page. Or if there is some error, right, then we need to stay in the view and we need to display the error information. Clear or not?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Clear. Clear, sir.
So this is my edit role. So next what I need to do, if you go to this list role page, then I need to specify the same here or not. Once I click on this edit button, I need to take the role ID, whatever the role ID I need to take, and I need to submit that information to this edit role action method or not. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And what is the parameter name here? Role ID. That what we need to
Okay.
pass. Let us see how we can do this, right? So for this purpose, right, what I'm going to do is, right, so this is my list of role space. I can simply replace with this one. So my controller is administrator. Action method is edit role. Whatever the route value is role ID, and this is the edit button. So when I click on this edit button, it will pass this role ID with this role ID parameter to this edit role action method of controller. Guys, give me one. So this is what I have done. Any question related to this one? What I'm doing here? I'm just specifying this edit button. When it click, it will submit the role ID. This is the parameter name. Guys, remember this is important. Here the value we are having with this ID property. But I need to set this ID property with this route red is route role ID. Why? Because in this case, if you look at this, the parameter name is role ID. So whatever is the parameter name inside this edit role method name, that what I need to specify here. Otherwise, this mapping will not be happen, right? And when you click, it will submit the data to this edit role action method. So let us understand, right, this practical whether it is working or not, right? So now let me run the application. List of roles. So this is suppose I want to test edit this one. So it is coming. So if I click on this cancel button, it will coming back. So now this text I just want to replace with right HR admin. So I replace with HR admin, and then I click on this update button. So now you can see that is replaced with HR admin or not.
Yes.
Right? So this is how we can manage the edit functionality. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, now what I need to do is, right, I need to show you, right, a delete functionality, right? So we need to show you delete functionality. Delete functionality means what, right, guys? Remember, so here we are having this delete button. In the UI, we are having this delete button, you can see. So when the user click on this delete button, I need to give a confirmation message, something like this on the same page. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes or no. If he click on the no button, then again it is going to be something like this. Again, this is going to be edit and delete. If he click the yes button, then this role is going to be deleted and the page is going to be refreshed with the updated text. That is what we want to do. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So let us see how we can do this, right? So for this purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some kind of JavaScript functionality. So this is nothing but your client-side validation, showing and hiding the button, right? So let us proceed and see how we can implement this thing. Right. So let me go ahead. This is my list of roles. right? So this is my list of roles. Now what is important till now, we have understand this thing. Now you can see the section which is going to display this thing. Basically here, right? If you look at this page, right here, I'm having two things. One section is going to display this delete button. Another section, this is going to display this confirmation message with the two buttons. So guys, remember, these are completely two different sections. So by default, when the page is load, I'm showing this section and I'm hiding this section. Getting my point? So this section is by default shown and this section by default is hidden. And when the user click on this delete button, then what I need to do? So I need to hide this section and I need to show this section. And when the user click on this no button, again what I need to do? I need to hide this section and I need to show this section. And once the user click on this yes button, I need to submit a request to the database server. Clear what exactly what functionality we want to achieve? So when we click on the by default, this is delete section. Let's say this is section 1, or you can say span element 1, and this is my span element 2. Let us, this is span 1, and this is span. So by default, span 1 is display, and span 2 is a hide. Clear? Up to now, this is clear.
Yes, sir.
Now when the user click on this span 1 delete button, what you need to do, we need to write some JavaScript code, and that JavaScript code, what exactly it is going to do is, it is going to hide the span 1, it is going to show the span 2. Clear? Once I click on the delete button, what is happening? It is ready, it is hiding this section and it is showing this section. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right? And once this section is shown, here we are also having two buttons. One is yes, another one is no. If I click on this no button, then what exactly he is going to do? He is going to hide this section and it is going to show this section. Clear?
Yes.
And if the user click on this yes button, then what it will do? It will submit the request to one of the action method, which is going to handle the delete functionality. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? So that is what I'm doing here, right? So you can say this is my span element 1, this is my span element 2. So you can say this span element ID is confirm delete span, whatever the role ID, and by default display equals to none. And this is my delete span element, and by default style display none means what? By default, this section is not going to be displayed, and this section is going to be displayed. Clear?
Yes,
So
sir.
this style display none means it is not going to display this section. And I have, as I have not applied the style display none here, it is going to be displayed by default. By default, this delete button, it is going to show. Once the user click on this delete button, right, what actually I'm doing, I'm calling one method, JavaScript method with the name confirm delete by passing the role ID as a parameter. And the second parameter is true. True means, right, exactly, see, why I'm passing true and false? Here you need to observe. So here, this is the second section what I'm showing. So this are you sure, delete and no. So this is the are you sure the text element. This is my delete button and this is my right no button, right? So once you click on this yes button, right, then it will submit the data. It will submit the data to which action method of which controller? No, guys, tell me.
Administration, controller, and delete rule action.
Right. So here it is going to right. It is going to so when this submit button is clicked, it will submit the request to this administrator controller delete role action method, which is also going to accept role ID as a parameter, and that role ID I'm accessing from the role object, right? Then again, right, both this and when the no button is clicked or when the delete button is clicked, they are simply calling this a confirm delete JavaScript function. This yes button, it is not calling the JavaScript function. When we click on the yes, it is a submit button. So at that time, it will submit the data to the right delete role action method of administrator controller, right? Why? Because we have specified the same thing. But here, href link, you can see we have specified the hash, means it is not going to do anything special. Simply they are calling this confirm delete. And here I'm passing the ID. And here what important thing is false and true. So now if you look at this confirm delete button, right, it is specifying this unique ID. This unique ID is nothing but your role ID, whichever role, right, you can consider, and is it true. So then it is going to generate that delete span, right? These two element, whatever I'm generating dynamically, delete span, whatever the role ID, and confirm delete span, whatever the role ID. So these two span element ID I have created here. Now you just tell me if I'm passing it true. If I'm passing true means which button I have clicked? This
The other
delete
one.
button.
Yes, sir.
If, if I'm clicking this delete button, then I'm passing the second parameter value as a true. So if I'm passing the value as true, what I need to do? So in that case, which span element I need to show and which span element I need to hide? Guys, tell me. If I'm clicking on this delete button, so I need to hide this one or I need to hide this one. Which one I need to hide? And which one I need to display?
You need to hide the first one. I think the first term.
Why first one? You just tell me if I'm clicking on this delete button, what I want to show.
Okay, okay. You want to show? Are you sure you want to delete? So
So you guys have right. You are guys are not understanding what I'm trying to make you
Sir,
understand.
it will be it,
If I click on this delete button, I need to show this delete button or I need to show this thing. This is my span element one. This is my span element two. If I click on the delete button, I need to show span element one or I need to show span element two. Both I cannot show at the same time. Either one I need to show. Which one I need to show when I click on this delete button?
second
Second
and
one.
two.
So if I click on this no button, then which one I need to show?
First one.
First one, because in that case we need to hide this section and we need to display delete button. So that is what I'm doing here. If I'm calling this delete button, I'm passing it true. So if I'm passing it true means what? It is going to display this section. If I'm passing false, it is going to display this section. And at what case I'm passing false? When I'm clicking on this no button. And that is what I'm doing here. So if the value is true, then right, this delete span is going to be hide. Confirm deletion is going to be shown. If I'm passing false, false means delete span is going to be displayed and confirm span is going to be hide. It's very simple. Okay. Next, what I need to do, I need to create the right delete method which is going to delete the role. And for that purpose, what I need to do, I need to make use of this delete async. So guys, remember, for creating the role, I need to use a create async method. For updating the role, I need to use update async method. For deleting the role, I need to use a delete async method. But what is important? Important is on which service you are calling this method. If you are calling on the role manager service, it is going to do the operation on the ASP.NET roles table. If you are calling this method using user manager means it is going to deal with the ASP.NET users table. The same. So here the delete async, update async method is there. Same method are also available within our user manager class. So in that case, here it is expecting the T role object. There it will expect the T user object, right? So now what I need to do is I need to create the delete action method, which is going to delete the right user, and after deletion, it will redirect it to the list of roles page, right? So let us do this thing. So this is my delete role, taking the role ID, finding whether the role is existing in the database or not. If not found, it is redirecting to this not found view, what we have created here, right? If it is found, then what it is going to do, it is going to delete that role from the database. If the operation was successful, we are redirecting to this list of, see, here also you can specify the controller name. Right, so whatever the controller name, you can also specify, right? Within the, if you are redirecting to the action method within the same controller, specifying the controller name is not mandatory, but better to provide the controller name for better readability so that you can easily understand. It is redirecting to the list roles action method of the administrator. If there is some error, right? If there is some error, then what we need to do, we need to redirect to the list of roles page. So list of roles page means whichever page displaying the list of roles and whatever the error message, right? What you need to write display. And again, in this case also, right, what I need to do, I need to write if I'm right, if I'm calling this list role space, or what I can say, if I'm here, I'm not redirecting, guys, my mistake here. So this statement is not. So this statement is redirecting to the list role space. But in this case, it is not redirecting to the list role space. Rather than it is right displaying the real list roles view, and for this view, whatever the data is required, that data it is retrieving from the database and sending. So with these changes, right, let me run the application and see whether it is working as expected or not. So this is my list of roles. So here you can see these are the different roles. Now, all right, I can click on this add button. I can add this one. So let's give a different role, my role, and update this one. So you can see my role is there. Click on this delete button, right? So once you click on this delete button, you can see it is displaying. Are you sure you want to delete? Yes or no? If you click no, it will stay in the same place. Guys, remember, always it is going to the top, right? Why? I don't know, right? These things can be managed better by the right, designer team, or you can say UI team, right? So that you can stay on the same place. So take the help of any designer, they can fix this issue. I don't have any much experience into design part, right? To be saying frankly, suppose now I want to delete, so I can click on this delete button, yes button, and once I click on this delete button, you can see that role is going to be deleted.
Sir,
Clear, guys?
this page is reloading. That is the reason it is going on the
Not
top.
reloading, not reloading. So when I click on this delete button, it is not reloading. So reloading means it should make a request to the database. Yeah,
Reloading
yeah,
like,
it is
sir.
reloading. Yes, yes, it is reloading, but it is staying on the same page, right? Without making any database call, it is staying in the same page that the hash is there, right? So that is reloading. But you can fix this issue, right, by communicating with some, right, what I can say, deviating.
Yes, sir. If we do some Ajax call or something, so
Yeah, that's what you can manage with the right UI team, because I don't have that much of experience into right this kind of UI features, right? But yes, what is our objective? That what we are achieving? Yes or no?
yeah, that's true. Yes.
So basically, we are provided the functionality for adding the role, updating the role, deleting the role. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Any question related to this administrator controller, guys? Remember, we have started this administrator and what I can say, this account controller. Currently, you can see only few line of code. So this 100 and 110, right? As we progress, we are going to add more, many and many features. So the number of a line of code of each controller is going to be increased drastically, right? So that should not be a problem. But what is important, you should understand the concept. So what is this method is doing? What is this method is doing, right? What is the logic to implement the right edit functionality, delete functionality, create functionality? That is important. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Right. So if you are working with the MVC web API application, then what you have, you do not have this right. What I can say, get version of the method. So you should have this post version of the method, and here you will receive this right data, and then whatever validation you want to do, whatever the operation you want to do, that what you need to do. And in this case, instead of returning a view, right, you need to return the data in the form of a JSON object. If successfully, you can return success response. If there is some error, you can return error response. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Right? So guys, remember what I'm saying means you have to do the same thing side by side. Right? So whatever I'm showing here, using both the front end and the back end, fully complete right feature of identity, that ASP.NET Core Web API part you also need to do side by side, right? So that you will get more clarity, right? So here, right, with the API, I don't have this redirect to action method. I don't have this view. Rather than I'm going to dealing with the JSON data, whether the operation successful, failed. If successful, success status code I need to return. If fail status code I need to return. If why field that error message, I also need to return. So that is what you need to do. Similarly, you have to implement the delete role functionality. Clear?
Clear.
Clear, sir.
Right. That's fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to customize the ASP.NET roles table. So customizing the ASP.NET roles table means what? The way we have customized the ASP.NET users table, in the same way, we can also customize the ASP.NET roles table. Now, if you look at this table, it is having these 4 columns. And these columns and this ASP.NET roles table is created from this this identity role right entity. Right now, if I want to add a custom column, let's say description, which is going to give more information, right? I mean, describe what is the role of, what is the use of that particular role, or if you want to give some information about the role, then you can create a column description. So let us proceed and see how we can do this. Guys, remember, whenever you are creating a class, you can give the class name as anything, right? But as per the recommendation, the way we are providing the user class as application user, similarly, the class what we are going to provide here, the name is going to be application role, but it is up to you, whatever name you want to give, that what you can give. So let us proceed and do the same thing. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating a application role class, right? And this class is going to be extended from my identity role class, and here it is going to be have only one property. So I want to add a custom property identity description, and this class is going to be inherited from the identity role. And this identity role class, right, it is going to be it is from this namespace. Clear? So I have created a custom class inheriting from the identity role class. Clear?
Clear, sir.
Right. So now what I need to do is, right, I need to use this class right throughout my application. So first of all, I need to go to the program.cs class file. Wherever I use identity role, I need to replace that with a application role. First thing is clear.
Clear, sir.
Right. Second thing, what you need to do, go to the application DB context. Now you need to specify this one. Right. So this is going to be my application role. And here it is giving me some error. So we need to put the string here. So basically we are telling that the primary key, right, or what I can say, primary key of this application role is going to be string. Actually, not that primary key is not the actual region. Even I don't know why it is giving, right, why it is not working if I'm not passing this string value. I'm doing some research, right? Why? See, in this case, I'm doing some changes to this application user and the application role. If I'm only passing application user, that is working. But when I'm adding this application role, it is not working. So why it is not working? You can see the non-generic type cannot be used with the type argument. When I pass this value as string, right? Even Microsoft, they do not provide much information. What is the use of the string parameter? Right, I'm doing some research. What is the use of this string parameter? Once I've done the research, I will give you more information about the string parameter. But for now, just remember to work with this, right? I need to pass the application user, application role along with this type parameter. What is the use of this type parameter? Even to be frankly saying, I don't have any idea at this point of time. Yes, I'm doing some research. Once I got the information, I will share with you guys. Clear? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. For now, you right. If you guys understand, if you guys figure out what is the use of this parameter, just let me know. Right. Otherwise, I'm also going to give some information right in our comment section. Right. But now to work with this, I'm specifying application role, and this is the parameter. Next, what I need to do. So this application role class, right? I'm using in my administrator class. Right. So now, if you go to this one, so this is identity role. I need to replace this with my application role. Clear? So now what I need to do, so instead of using this identity role, I need to provide application role. Clear? And now along, right, that is one thing, identity object, that is fine. Right. So now here I need to use, instead of this one, I need to use application role. And again, the view what it is using, That view also I need to replace with the identity role. Next, what I need to do, I need to check any. So here also I need to use identity role. Anywhere else we are using identity role, guys? So here we are using var means automatically it will take identity role. Instead of identity role, automatically it is going to be application role. But wherever you have hard coded the name, that changes you need to do. Clear?
Yes, sir.
And what are the changes I need to do? Is that clear? Now check this one. So what is the view? The view is this one, not identity user. So list of rule, we have updated this one, right? So we have updated this list of view page. So yes, we have updated this one. Anything else? Here we are replacing application role. That's fine. Edit role. That is also fine. Yeah, that's it. So once these changes are done, next what I need to do, guys? Next, I need to generate the migration. Again, go ahead and generate. Guys, remember, this is whenever I'm generating the migration, don't think that data, whatever I'm storing in the database, they are going to be lost. They will be there as it is, right? So what I'm doing here, I'm providing the migration file name as MIG3. Right? Then what I'm doing here, I'm updating the database. Right now. Now, if you look at this table, ASP.NET roles table, it should have the description column. Value is null, that's fine. And here you can see HR admin. So initially it was some text name. Later I have renamed this to write HR admin. So whenever I'm updating this value, you can see concurrency stamp value is also updated. Right now it is adding this description property additionally. Clear? So now what I want to do is I want to provide this description, right? Wherever it is being used, right? Let us try to include the description property. So for this purpose, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I need to add the description inside my inside this view model, right? So whatever the description property I'm having with this, so I need to go to the view model. So which view model is used for creating the role? So this is my create role view model. Okay, let me add this description here. So in the edit role view model, let me add the description property also here. So these are the two view model where I'm providing the options to edit and write what I can say, delete the data, right? So clear guys, so where I need to add this property while we are creating the role when you are updating the role now. So once this is done, right, next what I need to do, I need to go to the create role. So instead of here, what I need to do, I need to create another section, and this section is for the description property. So what I need to do, I need to provide the description. Here also I need to provide the description. Description is not mandatory, so I can remove the right attribute. So the placeholder you can provide here description, right? Then edit role, we also need to provide the same thing. So here also I need to provide the same thing, the description. So the property is going to be description. I'm providing description, and here I don't want to provide any kind of validation. This is an optional property. Next what, I need to display the description also here. So in the role name, so along with the role name, I also want to display the description of the role, right? So that in the list page. So how we can do this? So this is my create page. This is my list of roles, right? So here I want to show the description, right? So what I'm going to do, so just before the right card name, so before the role name, using a S3 tag, right? H1, S2, S3. Okay, let me give this as a H, right, 4 or H3. Let keep it as a H3. Here also I'm going to display the description. Rest of the functionality, they are going to be same as it is. Now let us proceed and try to see whether we are getting the description as expected or not. So now go to the list of page. So currently you can see description is not displaying because we have not added the description. Okay, let me click the description here. This is super admin. This is super admin role, admin having all access, right? and then click on this update button. Now, so again, you can see the super admin is there, but it is not displaying the description. Why it is not displaying? Let us try to observe now. So which page is this? This is the list of roles page. Go to the administrator controller. Which one is my list of roles page? This is my list of roles page. And here we are fetching the data from the database. Application role is there. Yes, description column is there, right? And then, right, in this case, right, when I'm updating the data, right, when I'm updating the data, at this point of time, am I update the name information to the database? Sorry, description information to the database. So
No.
when I'm editing the role, I'm only updating the role name. Am I updating the role description? Then what changes I
No.
need to do? Role dot description, that is coming from model dot description. That changes I need to do here. And another changes where I need to do while I'm creating the role. So this is my role creation. So here also I need to specify the same thing. So what I need to do, I need to specify that role model dot description. Right? So that is what I need to specify here. Right? So clear, guys?
Yeah, clear, sir.
Okay. So with these changes now run the application, try to update or add a new role and see whether it is affecting or not. Now, so this is my super admin. So this is super admin having all access and update this one. Am I getting this message?
Yes, sir.
So what, right? If you want to give me better viewability, so what I can do is, so I can make role as a S3 and here I can make this as a H5. Give you better view. So now run the application and this time it should display that role name and the corresponding description. Super admin. This is super admin having all access. Now, if you want to create a new role, then also you can give this. Let me give text, write a text role with any information you can give, and then click on this create button. Now you can see that the text and that description is displayed here. You want to delete? Yes, I want to delete. I can delete. HR admin, you want to delete? Yes, I can delete. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So this is how you can customize the ASP.NET users table. Right. So I have provided all this information. Right. So now you can put something like super admin. So let me delete this role. Right. So this is my admin. Uh, this is admin. Right. Having what I can say update and the delete functionality. Update and the delete functionality. So he can perform this one. See, whatever I'm saying, as we progress, right, I'm going to discuss this role-based authentication, all this functionality. And this is user, right? This is user having limited access. Right? So anything you can provide, right? Any information that what you can provide. Clear, guys? Now, if you check the database, then you should have these three roles. Clear? And this normalized, you can see it is the uppercase version of this name. Similarly, if you look at this user table, this is normalized username and a normalized email. They are nothing but your uppercase version of the email address. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right, right. That's fine. So next, what we need to discuss is how to add or remove users from role. For example, currently we have add a role. Currently, we have add a role. But did we assign that role to any user? So now
No.
what we have done, we have created the role. But until and unless we are not assigning these roles to any user, what is the meaning of creating this role? No meaning. So now what we are going to discuss is, or you can say the last thing what we are going to discuss in today's session. So whenever we are editing the role, we need to provide the options, to add or remove users from that particular role. So now if you look at the edit role page, right? Okay, let me show you this thing. Yes, it is running. So if you look at this edit role page, currently it is showing this thing. What is the ID? So in the edit role page, okay, guys, remember one more thing here, it is not working. By default, this description is not filled with this page. Why? This edit role is not filled with the description. Let us try to observe. So here, this is my description. This is my description, and then administrator controller is there, where, so this is my edit role. So in this case, I'm fetching the data, right? And here I have not provided that, right, what I can say, description field. So that is the reason why when I'm updating the field, it is not displaying the description. That is what I need to provide, right? So now what you need to do is, right, for example, so this is my list of roles. And if I'm going to add or update this role, here it is showing. Here I can update the role name and role description. That's fine. And along with this, here also I need to display whoever the users they are already having with this role. And also I need to provide one button. Using that button, you can add or remove users from this role, something like this. So currently, users in this role, currently I don't have any users, so it is showing none at the moment. If any user are there who are having this admin role, that the user list it is going to display here. Also, I want to provide one button, right? That button is going to be add or remove users from this role. And when the user click on this add or remove users button, then what it will do? It will open this add or remove user screen. And inside this screen, right, it will give the role name, role description, right? What is the role name? And here it is going to display all the users along with the checkbox. If any user already assigned to this role, that checkbox is auto selected. If not, then that checkbox is unselected. And from this page, you can select and unselect any user from this role. And again, you need to click on this update button. For example, if you select this first two roles, and let assume we have selected these two roles and click on the update button. And so once we click on the update button, then it will take me back to edit role page. And now it should display these two roles, two users, right? Inside this users in role section. Again, we are having this button. Using this button, I can write, again modify the user. So now if I click on this add or remove users from this role, it will take me to this update, right, role, update add or remove user space. And this time, these two should be selected by default. So that is what I want to achieve. Clear or not?
Clear, sir.
Yes.
Right? So that is what I want to implement. Now, if you remember, what should be the relationship between user and role? One user can be assigned with multiple roles, and at the same time, one role can be assigned to multiple users. So, what kind of a relationship is this?
Many
One
to
one,
many, many to many, many to
many.
many.
Why? Because one user can be assigned to multiple role, and one role can be assigned to, right? One user can be assigned with multiple role. One role can be assigned to multiple users, right? That means the relationship between them is many to many. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So, many to many relationship, what exactly entity framework code does internally? We have already discussed in our EF core sessions. So it is going to create a joining table, right? And that joining table going to contain one composite primary key, and each key pointing to the, each key is also going to be a foreign key. Pointing one key is going to point to the user table ID column, another one is going to point to the roles table ID column. Now, if you look at this, this is my ASP.NET roles table. This is my ASP.NET users table. And at the same time, right, you can see this is my ASP.NET users roles table. And this time you can see it is a composite primary key, user ID and role ID. User ID, it is also foreign key pointing to the users table ID column. And role ID, it is also a foreign key pointing to the roles table ID column. And guys, remember, guys, you guys know how to generate the ER diagram. If you want to
Sorry, sir.
represent the relationship between these three entities through ER diagram, database diagram, You guys know how to do the same?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you, let me show you this. So there is an option called the database diagram. So just right click and you will see this new database diagram. So right click here, you will see new database diagram. So once you right click, so it is going to show you this window. This database doesn't have one or more supports object required for database. Do you want yes? Just click on the yes button. So once you click on the yes button, it is going to give you the list of all the tables and whichever table ER diagram or the relationship diagram you want to establish. I want the ASP.NET roles, I want ASP.NET users, and I want ASP.NET user role. So I want to show what is the relationship between these three tables, right? So I just selected these three tables and click on this add button. So once you click on this add button, it is going to create the ER diagram. So once you click, just stop this one. So this is my ASP.NET roles table, this is my ASP.NET users table, and this is my ASP.NET users table. So now you can see it is displaying right how the relationship are between them. So this specify right the relationship between right here. This is the right what I can say. What is the relationship? Which one is the foreign key pointing to this table? So that what it is going to display. So this is how you can create the relationship diagram in your application. So in this case, this is many to many relationship. If it is one to many, so you will find some different kind of a relationship where it is going to show 1, 0, right? That means the one entity can have 1 or 0, right? Related entities, that is one to many. But in the case of many to many, this kind of a relationship it is going to be displayed. Clear, guys? So this is how you need to create, because sometimes when you work with your real-time applications in your company, your manager might be ask you, can you please provide me the database diagram of this and this table? What should be the relationships between them, how they are related to each other? So you need to create this one and take a screenshot and show to them. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir, clear.
This is one of the useful right now. Now, so the point that what you need to remember, whenever I'm going to assign the users with role, that entry it is going to store here, whatever the user ID and whatever the role ID that is going to be stored inside this table. So there is one to many relationship, but the combination cannot be right duplicate, right? It is a primary key means the combination the same user ID role ID you can only insert once time, not more than one time, right? So now let us proceed and see how we can implement this thing, right? So let us proceed and see how we can implement this thing. So for this purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a user role view model. So let me go ahead and create the model, user role view model. For assigning user to role, I'm going to make use of this user role view model, right? And this user role view model, it is going to be have this one. So user ID, username, and each selected. Right? So username, user ID, and each selected. Now you might have one question, sir. You are specifying user role view model. That's fine, but you are only specifying the user information. But this user right? But where is the role information? So yes, you are absolutely right. But what I can do is I can also add the role ID column here. I can also add the role ID column here, right? So I can also add the role ID column here. But what is the problem if I'm writing the role ID column here? So you just tell me. So what I want to implement, I want to show one role, and within that role, how many users are there? So basically, if I'm talking from the right roles to user point of view, what should be the relationship? Role can have multiple users or not. One role can have multiple users. From the user's point of view, right? If I'm talking from the user's point of view, they are also going to display the same thing. One user can be assigned with multiple roles, and here one role can be have multiple user. Then kind of a relationship. So from this, from if I'm looking from the role to user point of view, it is going to be one to many. Yes or no? One user can have one role can have multiple user. If I'm looking from the user to role point of view, again it is going to be one to many. One to many means what? One user can have multiple roles, right? So if you want to see here, And for me, the role ID is going to be same. With the same role ID, I can have a multiple users. Am I right? Role ID is same. For the same role, for the same role, admin or super admin, I can have a multiple users. Am I right?
Yes, sir, you're right.
Right. So now, if I'm going to put this role ID, then if I'm going to paste the data from the database that for this particular role, there are 5 users. Then that 5 user ID username is going to be different, unique. Each user having the unique user ID username, whether that user is already assigned with this role or not, that is a different story altogether. But in this case, if I'm putting this role ID, then for each user ID username is selected, this role ID is going to be duplicated or not. Same role ID I'm assigning means what? For all this user, that role ID value is going to be duplicated or not.
Yes.
If I'm going to create a collection of a user role view model, collection means user ID is going to be unique. Username is going to be unique. Each selected is going to specify whether this user is assigned to this particular role or not. Right? That's fine. For all the collection properties, right, all the elements, right, within that collection, that role ID is going to be same. So why I'm going to put the same role ID again and again? That is the reason why I have removed this one, and right, I have removed this one, and I can pass them separately using right view back view data, right? That is a small amount of information which I want to pass. I can use view back view data. But here, this is a huge amount of information, and again, at the same time, I don't want any kind of a duplication. I don't want to follow, I want to follow, don't repeat yourself, or you can say dry principle in my coding. So to remove, right, so to avoid the duplication of the role ID, I'm not putting that role ID here. But I will pass that role ID anyhow from my action method to the controller. And we have already discussed, we are having the concept of a view bag and view data, which we can use to pass a small amount of data from my controller action method to the corresponding view. So this is the role model, which is going to fetch the data from the database, and it is going to tell that whether a particular role is assigned to this user or not. If it is assigned to this user, that is selected properties is going to be true. If it is not assigned, then it is going to be false. Clear? What is the use of this user role view model?
Yes, sir. Sir, can we pass like list of user model and role ID in this view model? Is it? Can we do?
Okay, so for that purpose, yes, you can do absolutely. For that purpose, you need to create a two model. One is model for holding the user data, and another model, right? For example, what you are talking, you can create another model here, public class some model, right? Some model, right? And here, what I can do is, I can create one public, right? A list of user role view model, right? So this is user role view model, and you can give any name, user role view models, right? Models. And here, right, what I can do is, so I'm getting this error.
Set, close
It
it.
is not there. Okay. So that what you can pass, and here you can pass the role ID. That is fine. Public string role ID. This is fine. You can do something. So you are talking something like this, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
And now you can use this as the model. Yes, that is fine. You can do this. No issue, right? So that's fine. So now this is my view model is created. Next, what I need to do, I need to manage the user data inside my administrator controller, right? So now I want to manage the data inside my administrator controller. Now, so what I need to do? So, so this is application role. It is basically going to deal with the role data. So using this role manager, can I deal with the user data? No, I can't. So for that purpose, what I need to do, if you are dealing with the role data, user data, you need to create an instance of the user manager service class. User manager, and here it should be application, tell me application user, and it
User
should be
manager.
your user manager. Right? So that is what I need to provide. And again, right, what I need to do, I need to create a variable here, right? And this is going to be user manager. And here, right, I need to initialize the same thing. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right now, we need to deal with the functionality, which is dealing with the user data. So for that purpose, I need to include this one. Now what I need to do is, right. So before using this view model, right, what we have created here, I also need another view model. For example, why I need another view model? Because, right, I also need to display this data. So not only I'm going to see for this screen where I need to show whichever the user are already selected, whichever the users are not selected. For this view, I'm creating this view model, user role view model, right? But for this screen also, I need the list of users or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And for this view, which one? For this view, which one is the model? For the edit role, which one is the model? So for the edit role view, if you go to the administrator controller, we are having this edit role view model. So edit role view, where we are going to display, right, the list of right, what I can say, users. So this data, or what I can say, this is the page, right, where I need to display the data. So this is my edit role page where I'm displaying ID, role name, and a description. You can see I'm displaying ID, role name, and a description. And also this update and cancel button, you can see here update. And just below this, I want to display the list of users who are already enrolled to this, right? What I can say, role. So for this purpose, I need this list of user or not? Yes or no? Guys, tell me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, and I need to pass this role, right, within the model which is used in this, right, what I can say, view model inside this view or not. So basically, this is my view. And currently, if you look at this view, it is expecting ID, role number, and a description. That is what it is showing here, ID, role number, and a description. If I want to pass the list of users, right, whatever the user, doesn't make any sense to pass the list of user, only the user name if I want to pass. Then I also need a collection property inside this model, which is going to hold this list of user or not.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no, guys? So currently I'm taking only ID, roll number, description. That is the reason why three properties are there: ID, roll number, and a description. If I also want this list of a user name, which are assigned to already assigned with this role. So for to hold this list of user name, I also need a property or not. Understand me? And in this case, that property means I'm only going to store the list of a user name. So for this one, I have created a list of a user string. So the string is this list of a string is going to contain, right, the list of a user name. So whatever the user info one info, right, this list it is going to contain inside this user property. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right? And this can be null. That is the reason why I'm making this as a nullable property. Means it might be possible that there might not be any user belongs to that particular role. Right. So that is what I have modified here. Next, what I need to do. Right. So next, what I need to do means what? Right. Next, what I need to do. What I need to do means what? Means now what I need to do. So this is my administrator controller. This is my edit role. I'm fetching the role information and I'm passing this role information to the view. So now what changes I need to do inside my edit role action method? So based on this role, I'm fetching this data. Also, what I need to do, I need to fetch the all the users which are already assigned with this role or not. So not only this information, but also I need the required right or what you can say, or you need to also retrieve all the users which are already assigned with this role or not. So because I want to display the list of users who are already assigned to this role. So for that purpose, what I need to do, I also need to assign this thing. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm having this users property here, right? So you can see I'm having this users property here. Let me initialize this users property with some empty string. Right. So let me initialize this user with the right empty string. Right. and done. Now it is my time. Now what I need to do, I need to retrieve all the user. I need to check whether the user is assigned to this particular role or not. And if it is assigned to this particular role, then I need to add that user to this list of users. Let's see how we can do this, right? So user manager, see why I have include this user manager service, because I need the list of users, right? So now on this user manager service, if I'm calling this user manager dot user dot toList method, it is going to give me all the users which are available in my database or not. The list of users, this is going to return me, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So whenever I'm retrieving all the user, do I need to insert all the user into this users collection, or only those user which are assigned to this particular role, that list I need here,
Only the user that is assigned.
right? So how we can do this thing? So for this purpose, right, what I can do is I'm going to make use of this user manager class is enroll async method. So is enroll async method. So to this method, I can pass the user object. This is my user object, and whatever the role, right, you want to check, that role name I'm passing here. So basically what exactly this is enroll method is going to do, it is going to check whether this role, whether this user is assigned with this role or not. If this user is assigned with this role, then this method is going to return me true. If it return me true, then what I need to do, that user name I need to add inside this user collection. How we can do this, model dot user dot add and whatever the username. If this user is not assigned with this name, then I don't need to do anything special. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anyone
Yes.
having any questions?
Sir,
Any
is
question?
in role async, my internet disconnected, so can you repeat for me?
Each in-role async method is going to check whether a particular user is inside a particular role or not. So here, this is my role model, so which I have access from the database. Role.name means it is going to give me the name of the role. This is my user, so I'm accessing all the users collection right from the database. Individual user data I can access here. So that user I'm passing as the first parameter. Second parameter is the role name, what I fetch from the database, right? So this is role. So now this method is going to check, right, whether this particular user is assigned with this role or not. If it is assigned with this role, this is in role async method is going to return true. If it is return true, then what I need to do, I need to add this username into this users collection. If it is not available, I mean, if this user is not assigned with this particular role, then no need to add that user to this user collection, because in this way, I only need to display those users who are assigned with this particular role. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear. Thank you.
Right. So now once this is done, next what I need to do, I need to modify this page, right? So I need to modify this page, right? So currently this is the section. So now to this section, right, what I need to do, I need to add the other section, and that other section means, right, it is going to check, right? It is going to check whether the user is assigned with some role or not, right? So what I can do is that this read this statement. I'm checking user in this role. If at least one user is there, first of all, this user collection should not be empty. Model that users, and if at least one user is assigned to this role, then it will go inside and it will look through all the users. Means in this case, these are string properties and display the name. If at least one user is not there, then what I need to do, I need to display none at the moment. And again, in this case, right, I'm also providing one button, that is add or remove user from this role. And that button, when you click, right, it will take the user ID, sorry, it will take the role ID, and it will pass this role ID as a parameter, right, with the name role ID, the administrative controller and edit users in role action method. So it will, once you click on this button, it will call to this edit user in role action method of administrator controller. So let me show you. Currently, we have not provided any role. So in at this time, it should display none at the moment, and it should display this button. But we have not provided the action method which is going to handle this thing. But just let's to see whether right this section is coming or not with the required button. Now, this is my list of roles. This is my edit. You can see none at the moment, and this is the button. On clicking this button, right, we can add users to this role. So now let us proceed and provide implementation for this add or remove users from this role. Clear, guys, till now?
Yes.
Yes.
So now let us proceed. So for this purpose, right, and by looking at this action method, right, code, you can see when I click on this button, it will pass this role ID as a parameter to this action method of this controller. So what I need to do, I need to create one action method with the name edit users in role, and that action method should accept one parameter with the name role ID. Let us proceed and first create the get version, and then I will show you how to implement the post version, right? So let me go to the administrator controller. So let me go to the administrator controller and let me add this one. So this is my action method, which is taking the role ID. So first of all, what I'm doing, all right, as you can see, this is my role view model where I'm going to fetch all the users data. Not right, I'm not putting that role ID here. So what I'm doing here, I'm storing that role ID inside a view. As he already mentioned, you can also create another class, and inside that class, you can create a collection property and you can create a role ID property. That is also working fine. But in this case, let us write as viewback concept is there. Let us use the viewback concept because viewback is basically viewback, right, or view data. They are basically used to pass some small amount of information from the controller to the corresponding, sorry, from the controller action method to the corresponding view, right? So first of all, what I need to do, first of all, I need to check whether this role ID is exist or not. If this role ID is not exist, then doesn't make sense, right? To proceed further. So in that case, what I need to do, I need to return to the not found error page. That means this role ID is not found. Clear? So till line number 180, is there any question? What happened, guys? Why you guys are
No,
silent?
no, sir.
No. There is no question.
Right. So similar to this role ID, I'm also storing this role name into the viewback because, right, I also don't want to repeat the role name. I just want to display that role name only once in the view. So that role name also I'm storing here, right? So what I can do is, right, so instead of storing the viewback here, right, so better to store here, right? Better to store here. So here you can also write role.role ID, role.id. That is fine because right, if this role ID is not exist, then what is the meaning of storing that into the viewback? Doesn't make any sense. Only store in the viewback when this role ID is exist in the database for the better performance and security reason. Right, that's fine. Next, what I need to do, I need to create I need to create a collection of a user role view model to store all the users which are available in my database. But here, what is the important thing? Important thing is this is selected properties. If the role is already assigned to the user, then I need to say, check this is selected property to, I need to set this property value to true, right? So what I'm doing here, I have created one model, though you can see list user view model. Then what I'm doing here, I'm fetching all the data from the database, users manager, that users, right, a to list, and then I'm creating an instance of user view model, initializing this user ID and username because these are not dependent to the role. This is common. So I'm providing this user ID and username. But this selected property is going to be depend whether the user is assigned with that particular role or not, right? So for that purpose, what I'm doing here, I'm going to use the same mechanism again. So I'm using this user manager that is in role async method, passing this user and passing this role name and to check whether this user is already assigned with this role name or not. If it is already assigned with this role name, then what I need to do, I need to set this property value to true. That is what I'm doing here. If it is not assigned, then I'm setting this property value to false. And finally, I'm adding this user role view model to this model. And this model finally I'm passing to my view. Clear or not?
Sir, that role.id you're assigned to 180 line now, sir. From where we getting that role.id? And
So this one,
the button when we are clicking that is passing, am I right, sir? Model.id. The 180 line,
model
180 line,
180.
role.id. Yeah. View back that role ID is role.role ID. Sorry, role.id. This role.id we're getting from role is
So you
okay.
just
Oh,
tell
got
me,
it. Oh, got it, sir. Sorry, sir. Thank you. Thanks.
because we are accessing the role object here, right?
Yeah.
Application.
Got
Application role
Understood.
is
Thank you. Thank
clear,
you.
guys. Till now, any question, guys? Anyone having any question, guys? See, guys, remember this is very important, right? If you want to become a good developer, identity is very important. Managing the identity is also very important. Next, what I need to do, I need to create the view which is going to manage this thing, right? So let me add the view edit role in user view. So reserve view, and let me go ahead and create those. So for this view, what should be the model? The model is going to be list of a user role view model. Clear?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Let me copy the code. This is very simple, right? So what do I need to do here? Here, this view is very simple. I need to display what is the role name, what is the role ID. I'm going to store in the hidden field. I'm displaying the role name. I'm going to store the role ID in the hidden field, right? And this is the role ID. You can see the variable role ID. And that is what I'm also using here in the cancel button. So that, right, whenever the user click on the cancel button, it will go back to the edit role page with this role ID. That is fine. So ASP.NET action. If you want, right, you can also provide the ASP.NET controller name. And what should be the controller name here? The controller name is going to be, let's tell me, what should be the controller name? Administrator. So that is what you can specify here. So administrator. So this is going to my controller name, right? And again, here also in the form, you can also specify the same thing. What you need to specify? What is the controller name? Controller name equals to this one. And what should be the right action method name? Action method name is going to be the method name, right? So whatever the method is going to be this one, edit users in role, which we are going to create in some time. Right, clear? So this is my right. Once you click on this right submit button, it will submit this data to this edit user role action method of administrator controller, which is going to be decorated with post method. And if you cancel this, then once you cancel this, it will go back to the edit role page, right, of the administrator controller. But to pass right and to go back to the edit role page, we should pass the role ID, and that role ID we are storing inside a variable right from the view back. Clear? Now this is my form. So inside this form, I'm displaying this message role name, whatever the role name, and whatever the add or remove users. This is a heading, and here I'm storing the user ID and username in the hidden field, right? And that is the username is not that important, but user ID is very important. That what I'm storing in the hidden field to make sure that whichever user is right, what I can say are going to be selected, right? And in this case, I'm having this input is selected for, right? Is selected at what I can say checkbox, right? This is going to my input is selected checkbox, and then I'm going to display whatever the username and whatever the selected. Whether if it is already selected means this checkbox is going to be selected. If not selected, it is going to be unselected, and you can also select and unselect from this page, right? So that is fine. So basically here what I'm doing, I'm looping through all the users, and I'm storing the user ID in the hidden field. I'm also storing the username in the hidden field. Even this is not required. Okay, if you want, you can store, no issue. And then I'm displaying a checkbox, right? And that checkbox is going to be selected or unselected based on the model, right? Corresponding value. Because this is selected, it is a Boolean value. If that value is already set to true, that checkbox is going to be selected. If not selected, that checkbox is going to be unselected. And then, right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to display the username. Right, that is fine. Next, what I need to do, I need to create this edit user roles post action method, right, which is going to handle the logic and which is going to manage the data in the database. So this is where we need to store the data into the database, right? Whichever roles are assigned, whichever roles are not assigned, that what logic we need to store. So the logic is very simple, right? The logic is very simple. First of all, we need to verify whether this role ID, which I am getting from the hidden field, is available in the database or not. If it is not available, don't do anything, redirect it to the not found page, and it will display this error message. Otherwise, what I need to do, whatever all the users are there inside this model, I need to look through. right? Model, the count is going to be the number of elements. And then what I'm going to do, so model.count, model.I.user ID means the first element, second element, third elements. One by one, I'm accessing the user data from the database. So whatever the error message, I'm going to store inside this variable, right? And then what I'm saying. So here you can see, so the logic you just tell me. If each cell, so for example, I access one user. And for example, currently the user one is there. If it's selected is true and the user is not already in the role, then what I need to do? So this condition first you need to understand. If the user is selected, this is selected property is true, and the user is not already in the in this role, then what I need to do? Okay, let us try to understand. So there are two things. One is selected, another is already in this role. Right? And then we need to provide the right outcome. Outcome. So if the use selected is one, and if that all user is not in the database, then what I need to do? Do I need to add this user to the database? Yes or no? And
Yes.
then
Yes. Yes.
do I need to add this user? Yes. I need to assign this user to this role. Now, is selected is one, and this user is already into the database. Do I need to assign?
Yes. Assign.
Why
No,
assign?
no,
Already this is assigned.
not
Already this
required.
user is assigned with this role, then we do not need to do anything, nothing to do, right? Don't do anything. Simply skip. So you can skip this section. Clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Already if the user is assigned with this role, then why I'm going to reassign the same thing? Not required. Now, use selected is false and the user is not assigned, then what I need to do? Do I need to add this user to the database?
No, sir.
No. That means in this case, what I need to do? I don't need to do anything. I don't need to add this one. Is selected is zero and already assigned this role. Then what I need to do?
Skip it.
Why skip? Why skip? So what is this is
Sir.
selected? Is selected means zero. Zero means earlier this user is assigned with this role. But now I don't want that role to be assigned to that particular user. So in this
Mm-hmm.
case, what I
Okay.
need to do? I need to
Okay.
remove that role from the
Remove
user.
it. Sorry. Understood, sir. Sorry.
So
Got it.
that is what we remember. So this logic I have implemented here. So if the user is selected and this user is not already into this one, then what I need to do? I need to add that user. If the user is selected, if the user is not selected but already inside this role, then I need to remove that user. Rest of the case, don't do anything. So rest of the case means, right? You can consider these two. These two we can skip. With these two, we do not need to do anything special. If the user is selected and not already assigned, then add them. So you can say add them. If the use is selected is false but already assigned, then remove them. And the rest of the cases you can skip. So that logic what I have written here. So to add a user, right, to a particular role, what I need to do, we need to use this user manager service, add to role async method, whatever the user that what I have placed here, and whatever the role name you want to assign to this user, that what you need to pass. Similarly, to remove, what you need to do, you need to use remove from role async method instead of add to role async method. Clear?
Yes.
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 Right. So again, so here, right, when it is going to do the operation, that operation might be success. And guys, remember, what is the use of continue statement?
That skips the loop, that part.
Yes, whatever the rest of the statement are there, those are going to be skipped. It will continue the loop again. Continue means it is not going to skip the loop. It is going to skip the remaining statement and continue the loop again. Clear? If you are
Yes.
writing a break statement, it will stop the loop and go out from the outside of the loop. Continue means the remaining statement are going to be skipped and it will continue again right from the next iteration, right? Now let's assume there is some issue, right? But after executing this thing, right? For example, this statement is executed, then in that case, this section is not going to be executed. If this section is executed, then this statement is not going to be executed. Let's assume while I'm executing this statement, I might get some success message, I might get some of fail message, right? So if I got the success message, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to check whether the number of an element, whatever the model count minus one is less than this one. If yes, then continue means there is still some elements are there which I need to process. If no, then what I need to do, I need to redirect it to the edit role page, right? So let us write what I can say run the application and see whether this functionality is working as expected or not. So by default, if you go to the edit page, so currently is this page is assigned with any role? No, it is not assigned with any role. Now I need to add a few roles. So click on this add role button. So currently you can see none of the user is assigned with this role. So I select this one and this one. So once I select this one, I click on this update button. So the role with ID1 cannot be found. Means there is some issue in our logic. So what is the issue? Let us try to observe, right? So in this case, right, this is the post action method which is handling my application, right? So let me go to this page, list of roles, edit, none at this moment. This is, and click on the object button. So what I'm doing here? So here you can see the role ID I'm not getting. I'm not getting the role ID value. You can see the model count is there, but this role ID I'm not getting. Why I'm not getting the role ID? Right? Let us try to observe. So for observing the same thing, go to this view, go to the view, and here you can see, am I stored the role ID in the hidden field? Tell me, am I
No,
stored?
no, 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 no.
I need to do is I need to store this hidden field, input type hidden, and the value is going to be this one, not as before. So the value is going to be this one, and the ID, or you can say input element ID, the ID is going to be this one. So role ID, this is the value, and that is what we are going to store. Let me, and this is common. So why I'm going to store inside that loop, so I can come out from this loop. Clear?
Yes.
Right? So I have not stored this inside the hidden field, right? So let me run the application, right? So list of roles, edit, add this one, update. Now check whether you are getting the role ID value. Still I'm getting the role ID as null. Why I'm getting the role ID as null? So
You are selecting two role ID, but here you are adding only one.
no,
Getting
no. So for this role ID, we get that role ID. Yes. So what I need to do, I need to pass this at the rate role ID, because this is a variable which I need to specify using the at the rate symbol, right? So let me go ahead and run the application. Again, this is not, am I passing this wrong value here? Okay. Let's start from the beginning. This is my role ID. This is my role ID, which I'm storing in the view bar. Role name is also I'm storing in the view bar. That is fine. And then I'm getting null.
So from that button you are passing, so there also I didn't see that, but can we check whether it's at the rate is there?
This is role ID. Okay, input type hidden. Okay, name also. Let me give this also name also.
Sir, ID at the rate. No. It's Sir, can you scroll down the card footer area? So here that submit button.
That is the cancel button. This is my submit button. This submit button means it should submit this R, right? So what I
Yes.
can do is, right, ASP, this one. Ideally, it should work. Input type hidden, role ID, value is this one. Okay, let me do one more thing. Yes, it is coming now, right? So now, right, you can continue, click on the continue button. You can see these two roles are assigned to the user. Clear, guys? Okay, let me put this updated code in the document so that you should not face this problem. Right, so this is my edit role. Clear, guys? So we are
Yes.
actually, right, we are not assigning from the viewback. That is the reason why. Once I assign from the viewback, it is working. This is the name parameter what I need to specify. That is what. Now, okay, let me remove this one. Run the application. Now, this time, if you visit this one, super admin, you will see by default these users are selected. Now, what I'm doing here, right, I'm again going to assign and reassign. So I don't want this info one. I want this info as part of this role. So this to Pranay Kumar 7, it will be keep as it is. I'm removing info one and adding info. Now, let's see whether this data I'm getting the updated data or not. So this Pranay Kumar and that updated information I'm getting. If I click on this cancel button, I will go back to my previous page. Clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
Anyone having any question, guys? This is what about for today's session. We'll continue our discussion tomorrow also, right? So tomorrow we have also class. We will discuss the right things, right, which are remaining, and everything I'm going to explain. Don't worry. But whatever we discuss in today's session, is that clear?
Yeah, it's
Yes, sir.
Right. So please do practices, right? Until and unless you are not doing practices, it will be difficult for you to understand the concept. Anyone having any question, guys? Otherwise, we can stop the session.
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
yeah, thank you.